Hi, it's Norman Kochannek here for Extra Time. I'm at the Intercontinental on Double Bay, and I just happened to meet Chris Barrett walking past. What a fluke. He just happened to be here. How are you, Chris?
Good. How are you, Norman?
Very well. Now, Chris is actually here, as I am. Obviously, we're aware that the Indian and Australian teams are both staying here for the entire period of the Sydney Test, which could well lead to the Brisbane Test as well, depending on what happens. But what is particularly interesting is the freedom in which the mainly Indian team and also the Australian team have had in such a COVID environment. And even just now when we were there, when they walked into this building, there was virtually no distance between us as media and the players, which was quite startling to me. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, I think they've had a sliding scale of biosecurity restrictions, Norman, and I mean, look, they were probably a few metres away from the photographers there, but everyone's wearing masks, and the players certainly, and the photographers. So, I think that's pretty reasonable. And look, most of this summer has gone along as Cricket Australia would have liked in terms of adherence to the bubble. There's been some transgressions from the India side that have emerged in the last couple of days, including one that's formally under investigation by the BCCI. And I suppose, you could say that's a reflection maybe of the frustration of the tourists and of probably the Australians as well, of having to be holed up in quarantine-style climate or a bubble for many months now.
Well, it's as much as 6 months, isn't it, in a lot of cases, yeah.
In some cases. I mean, they're the sacrifices, though, they have to make. I mean, there's still some reports out of the Indian camp that they don't want to be subjected to having to stay in the hotel here, even if they can get outside the rooms, which they can. But interesting that Cricket Australia's CEO Nick Hockley has said just about half an hour ago that he believes that the players will accept the guidelines of being in the hotel in here and in Brisbane when they're not training or playing, and that those guidelines have been ticked off on by team management or the higher echelons of the Indian cricket establishment.
Now, Chris must make it clear, he's the chief sports editor for the Sydney Morning Herald. In fact, he's world renowned as far as I'm concerned, a leading light in media. I'm very glad to have him here. I want to ask a few more questions though, just quickly about your prowesses. The reality is that you certainly have covered a lot of interesting press, and you seem to be able to get a lot of scoops, and a lot of people come to you with reports. I think it's quite amazing. Obviously, the stature of the man, people want to provide information to you.
Oh, look. That's too flattering. I mean, I enjoy talking to people and just on a general level, and enjoy pursuing news stories, but also love writing about and covering cricket as well. So it's it's a pretty sweet gig in that respect. And yeah, you meet a lot of interesting people like yourself, and along the way in the
I don't know about that, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean the game, and look, I suppose in terms of the news itself, there's always something comes up in a summer like this between Australia and India, and between Australia and England, and most major series, of course. Let's not mention South Africa. And,
let's not mention South Africa.
But this one in particular, it was always going to be complex and a fast-moving, fast-changing environment, and because of the COVID element, and it's proven to be the case.
And that's very true, Chris. The reality is that this has been an amazing series. When you consider how much we've been able to achieve in terms of matches in most, if not all, locations, slight hiccups with the concern about where to go, but actually, we've here in Sydney, completely unexpected seeing the breakout that we had, the actual clusters that we actually did have. It's been amazing to actually be here, and Chris will attest to that, and we're so glad for them to be here to play, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, only last Wednesday, or before last Wednesday, there was extreme doubt about this Test match actually going ahead in Sydney. There's obviously been an outbreak of sorts in this town, which actually come down a fair bit today to 0 local cases.
Yeah, 0 local.
8 p.m. last night, which is good. But Sydney was in danger of losing its Test match. They've announced today that the crowd will only be 25% full per day, which is about 10,000. It seems like a reasonable compromise. Particularly with rain forecast and people having to huddle, understands, you'd imagine. I think they've probably got to the right result there. But yeah, look, I mean, it's been a great test series so far.
Absolutely.
Two fairly contrasting results, but it's away from all the COVID stuff. I can't wait for 2 more great Test matches to finish it off. Yeah.
I certainly can't either. The reality is, you look at South Africa currently against Sri Lanka, no crowd.
Yeah.
The games in England not long ago, no crowd. Here, we're complaining about only having 10,000. I think we're counting our lucky stars. This has been a fantastic result. Good on Australia. We've had great conditions with COVID-19. And having Chris here to talk to has been a pleasure for me. So thanks for your time, Chris.
Good on you, Norman. Thanks for having me.
This is Norman Kochannek with Extra Time. That was good.